One of the things that I love to see Jesus do over and over is I read the stories about him in the Gospels. And let me just say, if you are at all interested in Jesus, the first place you really should look is in the Scriptures themselves and in the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. All of us Christians, no matter how hard we're trying to get it right, how hard we're really genuinely trying to obey his example and follow his teachings, we don't get it 100% right. But he does every time. And even when it's confusing, even when it's a little bit disturbing, going straight to the actual words of Jesus is where you should always start. But one of the things that I notice when I go back through the Gospels over and over is Jesus loved to take something that was common and somehow make that sacred, make that memorable, make that something that reminded you or helped you understand better something about God. And I think that that's a really important thing to do. For example, the Passover meal, of course, Jesus being part of the Godhead, he had a hand in instigating that all the way back when it first started. But the Passover meal in Jesus' day was a long-standing tradition. It was just kind of like, I guess, Thanksgiving that's coming up here in America. It was something that everybody did and had something to do with God. But Jesus took it and made it so much more. He let them know that this was something that had been pointing at him, the Messiah, the Christ, the Savior all along. And then he took the very last part of it and turned it into what we now call the Lord's Supper or communion. And every time we think about now, when we think about the Passover meal, we think about bread and wine or bread and grape juice or whatever, depending on what church you go to. When we think about those things, we think about Jesus and we think about his sacrifice. And we think about the fellowship that we have with each other and with him when we celebrate that together. We think about looking forward to his return because he said, "Do this to remember me until I return." And all of that from just taking something that people were already doing. What I'd love to encourage you today is to try to look around at something that you do every day and figure out a way to make that remind you of God. Figure out a way to just go, hey, you know what? I drink water every single day. What if I said a prayer for the people who don't have clean water every day? Or what about if every week I give a little bit of money to one of the companies that provides clean water who don't have it? Or what about if every single day I remember that Jesus is the water of life? There's so many ways. That's a simple way, but I'd love for you to try that today. God bless you.